Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And on days like today that seem bleak, I want to share with you 3 stories in this video that will really highlight how bright the future is. And it's not just selling you a song and dance or some pony show. I'm going to provide you some facts that will give you some hope that this space has great potential. The first story is about Mr. Kitao-san. He is, of course, the CEO of SBI Holdings. There is an article in a magazine here, a monthly magazine called Boss. Let me share that cover with you. Here it is, and there is a 24-page article story that covers the future of finance. And not only Mr. Kitao, he opens up with an interview, but there are some other SBI Holding employees that are contributing to this story. And it's quite interesting, and I think you'll see that the future is very bright. First and foremost, I will pull out the nuggets. Somehow, some way, I'm going to think about how to translate the entire 24 pages into English and share it with you. I'm not sure exactly how to do that. It's a big job to do just because of the length of this story, but I'm going to figure out some way. Until then, here are the highlights. So he opens up with talking about the 2019 G20 meeting. It's going to be here in Japan because Japan is the host. And in gathering academics and practitioners, they are going to bring the knowledge to the Diet members of the upper and lower house to form the next generation of finance. And then he goes on to talk about how SBI has a good capital relationship with Ripple and R3. And he's always thinking about new concepts on how to use XRP. He has put the seed into the soil. And we all know the story of the bamboo. I really kind of see the relationship of what he's trying to say here. So taking the technology, he wants to maximize that value back. He has a big vision, and he wants to use XRP in a big way before the Osaka 2025 Expo. And he sees that visitors from all over the world are going to be able to use XRP. And he wants to incorporate that for all of the visitors and get that underway before the expo occurs. And in 2019, he goes on to say that the what he sees as the world's 20 top global banks will be using XRP. And they will also at the same time see SWIFT going down, down, down. He uses the term jibanchinka, which means sinking into the ground. With the application that's used on mobiles here called MoneyTap, it will utilize XRP. And he talks at great length about the benefits of R3 Corda with their smart contracts. And when you combine that with XRP, you can go beyond international remittances. So he cites international trade finance and bond trading, derivatives, etc. He really does have a multi-use for both those technologies. And I don't know what he's got coming soon, but he says he's going to make an announcement shortly. I don't know what that is, and we just have to wait and see, but I'm sure it will be promising. And talking about big banks, this is an interesting conversation that just took place between an XRP community member and Mark Carney. He is the governor of the Bank of England, the chair of the Monetary Policy Committee also, which was approved by Her Majesty the Queen back in 2012. Mr. Carney has a very interesting bio. He holds a citizenship of Canada, the UK, and Ireland. Wow, how interesting. A Harvard grad, 13 years with Goldman Sachs. He has worked in locations that include Boston, London, New York, Tokyo, and Toronto. I am sure this guy has an interesting story to tell. So here we have XRP Steve, and he asked, how does the BOE, Bank of England, view the increased utility of digital assets, example, the use of XRP through Ripplenet, as a bridging asset for cross-border payments and transfers? And is the BOE working towards the use of digital asset to perform this monetary? Sorry, I'm losing my track here because this is a little bit awkward to maneuver. Let's see. And is the BOE working towards the use of digital asset to perform this or any other monetary task? And Mr. Carney replies, hi, Steve. As you may have seen in my other responses, the bank is engaged with fintech developments and aware of many companies offering services and products that could make financial system more efficient, accessible, and resilient. In 2016, the bank launched a fintech accelerator program to test proofs of concept with a variety of fintech firms looking at new ideas in cybersecurity, distributed ledgers, machine learning, and data analysis. Ripple was one of the firms we worked with in 2017. For that proof of concept study, we looked at whether two transactions in different currencies could be executed simultaneously in separate real-time gross settlement systems, RTGS. We did the test by simulating the RTGS systems in the cloud. The proofs of concepts are all available on the bank's website. In this case, the team was able to show that we could successfully synchronize transactions across RTGS systems. The important test is that if one of the synchronized transactions fail to go through, the other part should not go through. That shows the system is working properly and could, in principle, be used for cross-currency conversions. This is one of the many that could solve the problem of slow and costly border payments. At the moment, there are 10 times more expensive than domestic payments. The bank is renewing its RTGS system, the backbone of every payment in the UK, to help lower the cost and increase speed by broadening access to RTGS and improving standards. We will reduce the reliance on so-called correspondent banks that can access our central payment systems on behalf of others and reduce the compliance cost associated with payments. So I think it's a great answer. It really shows us that the test was successful, and he's not going out on a limb to exactly say that it will be used, but I can bet you it has a very good chance of being utilized in the future. Okay. And this just came out on the 10th. It is very important, and I'll tell you why. Bitwise, which is a investment advisor company out of San Francisco, they have been in a 1-year in-depth research to take the right information and data to get an ETF approved. So we just learned that they have filed for this, and they are going to track Bitcoin Total Return Index, which differentiates from others. It utilizes a third-party custodian that are regulated, and that regulator becomes a bank to hold the physical asset. Under the current U.S. fund regulation, which has been in existence for 80 years, I think these guys have the recipe. So it is going to be traded the same as a stock. And Bitwise, just so you know, has decades of expertise in ETFs. So as a management company, they are very much thinking that crypto is in the early stages and that it is just a brilliant way to send value over the internet. And these, the story that he uses in this particular interview right here, which I'm going to include the link down in the comment section below. It's really an informative 9 minutes. He talks about how back in the 80s, only the San Francisco geeks and academics used email. It wasn't until we had Outlook, Yahoo, and Hotmail that the use of email became widespread and adopted by the masses. It took a very easy user interface, and that's how he sees the ETF as functioning for the masses. So I don't know. I'm very excited about this one. I know we kind of get our hopes up, and then we have recently been let down by some non-approvals by the SEC. But when you listen, I'm just telling you, when you listen to this interview, you will start to think that these guys have figured it out. Okay. We are jumping to the fluff already. I'm going to stick with the same theme that Mr. Kitao-san talked about in his interview, and that is getting XRP ready before the expo in Osaka. Osaka is in Japan. It is about 2 hours by bullet train, which is called the Shinkansen, south of Tokyo. And in this particular expo, the world faces a number of social issues, and the United Nations has set the Sustainable Development Goals to address poverty, famine, and health, welfare, among other pressing issues. And let me just show you this here. You can see that with the outline of these 17 goals, this expo is going to be used as a laboratory to bring ideas from around the world to really solve these issues. And these issues are to solve poverty, to achieve zero hunger, number 3, good health and well-being, number 4, good quality of education, number 5, gender equality, number 6, clean water, followed by clean energy, economic growth, reduced innovation, industry innovation, and then reduced inequalities, number 11, sustainable communities, responsible consumption for number 12, 13 is climate action, 14 is ocean life, 15 is life on land, 16 is peace, and 17 is the partnerships that will help achieve these goals. So let me just show you one company in Japan that's part of an example of those companies that will be featured and highlighted at the expo that are solving the world's problems in a way that meets these sustainable development goals. This is a 2025 model of how we are going to eradicate landmines. And it's a smart drone that is then destroyed by a high pressure water jet on a robotic, you can see it here in green, on a robotic all-terrain vehicle. So the drone then flies and detects these landmines, and this will then go to the site and will detonate that landmine, rendering it impossible to injure a human in the future. And still, these landmines are very much a big problem in our world. And you can see here that it will be one of the featured companies in the expo. So you can see here the clearing of anti-personnel landmines. Look at all the countries that are plagued with this problem. So it is really wonderful innovation. And I think that the expo is going to be a wonderful laboratory for the world to share all of those great inventions. Okay, everybody, that's all I have for you today. Do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.